Just keep going. Find that thing you love, because it's tough work. And my father gave me this advice when I said I wanted to be an actor. He said, have a backup profession like welding. But I think if you can find that thing that really gives you joy, that'll be it. Because for me, it's always been comedy and stand-up and acting too, because of exploring behavior. But it's tough work, and if you can get it, even better.
Well, I think it's important to have a very to apply critical thinking to, this may sound trite, but to apply critical thinking to what one is doing. By that I mean just the fundamentals of logic, you know, do you have the right axioms? Are they relevant? And are you making the right conclusions based on those axioms? That's the essence of critical thinking, and yet it is amazing how often people fail to do that. I think wishful thinking is innate in the human brain. You want things to be the way you wish them to be, and so you tend to filter information that you shouldn't filter. That's the most common flaw that I see.
Seize the day. Winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. Do not wait for your ship to come in, swim out to it. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. If you can dream it, you can do it. Wherever you go, go with all your heart. If man has done his best, what else is there? Success is going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. If first you don't succeed, try again. Genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. There's no substitute for hard work. Willing is not enough. We must do, live the life you imagine. Do or do not. There is no try. Action is the foundational key to all success. Discouragement and failure are the two of the surest stepping stones to success. The cure is not to dream less, but to dream more, to dream all the time. If you don't know where you're going, you will wind up somewhere else. Just do it. Some pretty motivational quotes from some pretty inspirational people, including Lombardi, Proust, and the little engine that could. I heard those quotes growing up all the time. When I first heard some, I memorized them. Others I wrote down. But not one of them motivated me for more than a day or two. It was a much less inspirational quote that inspired me, from a much less famous person. It was a doctor at UCLA. He said, Steve, you've got inoperable tumors all over your liver. Worst case scenario, you have 5 years to live.
So you're CEO of 2 companies, you're chairman of SolarCity. Talk about time management. How on earth do you do this?
Well,
do you get any sleep?
Yeah, sometimes not enough. Sleep is really great, because I find if I don't get enough sleep, then I'm quite grumpy. I mean, obviously, I think most people are that way. And also, like I try to sort of figure out what's the right amount of sleep, because I found I could drop below a certain threshold of sleep, and although I'd be awake more hours and I could sustain it, I would get less done because my mental acuity would be affected. So I found generally the right number for me is around 6 to 6.5 hours on average per night.
That's not too bad.
Yeah.
Right. And any other tips
on...
on...
That is an average, though.
Right. Any other tips on just managing to run 2 companies simultaneously? I mean, do you find, I mean, I know you're up here Monday, Tuesday. Is it all Tesla when you're up in Silicon Valley and all SpaceX Wednesday, Thursday?
Having a having a smartphone is incredibly helpful, because that means you can do email during interstitial periods. Like if you're in a car, you're walking in the bathroom, everywhere, you can do email practically when you're awake. And so that's really helpful to have email for SpaceX and Tesla integrated on my phone. And then it's just you have to apply a lot of hours to actually working. So the way I generally do it is I'll be working at SpaceX on Monday, and then Monday night flight to the Bay Area, spend Tuesday and Wednesday in the Bay Area, then at Tesla, and then fly back on Wednesday night, spend Thursday and Friday at SpaceX. In the last several months, then I would fly back here on a Saturday and either spend Saturday and Sunday at Tesla or spend Saturday at Tesla and Sunday at SpaceX.
And where do the boys fit in? You have 5 sons.
Yeah.
Do they tag along with Dad on some of these trips?
I do drag them along in a lot of things, actually. They're remarkably unimpressed by...
One of the, I think, most common questions I hear young people, ambitious young people ask is, I want to be the next Elon Musk. How do I do that? Obviously, the next Elon Musk will work on very different things than you did, but what have you done, or what did you do when you were younger that you think sort of set you up to have a big impact?
Well, I think first of all, I should say that I did not expect to be involved in all these things. So the 5 things that I thought about at the time in college, so quite a long time ago, 25 years ago, making life multiplanetary, accelerating the transition to sustainable energy, the internet, broadly speaking, and then genetics and AI. I think I didn't expect to be involved in all of those things. I actually, at the time in college, I sort of thought helping with electrification of cars was how I would start out, and that's actually what I worked on as an intern, was advanced ultracapacitors to see if they would be a breakthrough relative to batteries for energy storage in cars. And then when I came out to go to Stanford, that's what I was going to be doing my grad studies on, was working on advanced energy storage technologies for electric cars. And then I put that on hold to start an internet company in '95, because there does seem to be like a time for particular technologies when they're at a steep point in the inflection curve, and I didn't want to, do a PhD at Stanford and watch it all happen, and I wasn't entirely certain that the technology I'd be working on would actually succeed. Like you can get a doctorate on many things that ultimately do not have a practical bearing on the world. And I wanted to, I really was just trying to be useful. That's the optimization. It's like, what can I do that would actually be useful?
Do you think people that want to be useful today should get PhDs?
Mostly not.
So what is the best way to be
Some
useful?
yes, but mostly not.
How should someone figure out how they can be most useful?
Whatever this thing is that you're trying to create, what would be the utility delta compared to the current state of the art times how many people it would affect? So that's why I think having something that makes a big difference but affects a sort of small to moderate number of people is great, as is something that makes even a small difference but affects a vast number of people. Like the area under the curve.
Under the curve.
Yeah, exactly. The area under the curve would actually be roughly similar for those 2 things. So it's actually really about just trying to be useful and matter.
And then when you're trying to estimate probability of success, so you say this thing will be really useful, good area under the curve, I guess to use the example of SpaceX.
Mm-hmm.
When you made the go decision that you were actually going to do that, this was kind of a very crazy thing at the time.
Very crazy,
very
for sure.
Crazy.
Yeah, people are not shy about saying that. But I kind of agree. I agreed with them that it was quite crazy. Crazy if the objective was to achieve the best risk-adjusted return, starting a rocket company is insane. But that was not my objective.
I had cancer. I was dying. But I got more bad news. You are all dying too. Maybe not from cancer, maybe not as rapidly. But I've basically just given you all the same diagnosis I was given. Your time is limited. And that's a real diagnosis, so what now?
We say that discipline is the root of all good qualities. But you have to absolutely apply it to things outside of just waking up early. It's everything. It's working out every day, making yourself stronger and faster and more flexible and healthier. Discipline is eating the right foods to fuel your system. It's about disciplining your emotions. so you can make good decisions. It's about having the discipline to control your ego so your ego doesn't get out of hand and control you. It's about treating people the way you would want to be treated. And doing the tasks that you don't necessarily want to do, but that you know will help you or help your team. It's about facing your fears. It takes discipline to face your fears so you can conquer them. And that's what discipline is. Discipline means taking the hard road, the uphill road, to do what's right for yourself and for other people. It's so often the easy path that calls to us to be weak for that moment, to break down for that moment, to give in to the desire and the short-term gratification. But the discipline will not allow that. The discipline calls for strength and fortitude and will. It won't accept weakness. It won't tolerate another breakdown. The discipline can seem like it's your worst enemy. But the reality is, discipline is your best friend. It will take care of you like nothing else can. And it'll put you on that path. The path to strength and health and intelligence and happiness. And most importantly, it'll put you on that path to freedom.
Right? Everyone has different models of the world. Some people are driven by money, some people aren't. But I will say I think there's three things that will, quote, motivate somebody, right? There's push motivation, trying to make somebody do something, and then there's pull. Another one's incentives. Incentives are fantastic for certain people, and everybody appreciates them, but the problem with an incentive is there's only so much you can give out of the margin of a business. The most powerful incentive I know is autonomy and growth. The sense that I become more, that I can give more, that I can create more. I always say to people, if you want to know where happiness comes, and give it to you in one word: progress. Progress equals happiness. We're not supposed to sit at the table of success and just feel good about ourselves forever. What makes us feel alive is growing, and when we grow, we have something to give. People have large bullshit meters today. I do, you do. And we tend to think it's all bullshit. But there are patterns that control the way you think and feel. And think about it, whether you're performing in sports, or whether it's government, or whether it's in the financial markets, or whether it's in your relationship, as much as we want to think it's just the way we think, our emotions play a huge role in our performance, or lack thereof. And I know how to help people make a shift in their psychology.
An academic tradition called the last lecture. Hypothetically, if you knew you were going to die and you had one last lecture, what would you say to your students? Well, for me, there's an elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is that for me, it wasn't hypothetical. I've been fighting pancreatic cancer. It has now come back after surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. And the doctors tell me there's nothing more to do and I have months to live. These are my most recent CT scans. The pancreatic cancer has spread to my liver. There are approximately 12 tumors. I don't like this. I have 3 little kids. Let's be clear, this stinks. But I can't do anything about the fact that I'm going to die. I'm pursuing medical treatments, but I pretty much know how this movie's going to end. And I can't control the cards I'm dealt, just how I play the hand. But I don't choose to be an object of pity. Jackie Robinson, first black major leaguer, had it in his contract not to complain if people spit on him. All right? Now, I don't care if you're Jackie Robinson or if you're a guy like me who's only got a couple of months to live. You can choose to take your finite time and energy and effort, and you can spend it complaining, or you can spend it playing the game hard. The brick walls that are in our way are there for a reason. They are not there to keep us out. The talk isn't just about how to achieve your childhood dreams. It's much broader than that. It's about how to live your life. Because if you lead your life the right way, the karma will take care of itself. The dreams will come to you. If you live properly, the dreams will come to you. I think it's great that so many people have benefited from this lecture, but the truth of the matter is that I didn't even really give it to the 400 people at Carnegie Mellon who came. I only wrote this lecture for 3 people. And when they're older, they'll watch it. Thank you.
How to stop the laziness, and they want to know how to stop the procrastination. And, they have some idea in their head, some kind of a vision of what they want to do. But they don't know where to start. They don't know where to start it, They don't know where to start. And so they say, hey, where do I start? And when's the best time to start? And I have a very simple answer for that. Here and now. That's it. You want to improve? You want to get better? You want to get on a workout program or a clean diet? You want to start a business? You want to write a book or make a movie or build a house or a computer or put together some mobile application? Where do you start? You start right here. And when do you start? You start right now. You initiate the action aggressively. You go. Because the idea isn't going to execute itself. And the book isn't going to write itself. And the weights out in the gym, they're not going to move themselves. You have to do it, and you have to do it now. And that means you got to stop thinking about it and stop dreaming about it and stop researching every aspect of it and reading all about it and debating the pros and cons of it. Just start doing it. Take that first step and make it happen. Get after it. And get after it here and now.
Someday isn't on the calendar. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's on there about 4 times a month. No someday. But when it comes to our dreams, it's probably the busiest day of the week is someday, right? So learning that lesson, I just decided that I was going to refocus my attention back on that dream. I was going to pull out all the stops, and I gave myself a goal of getting on Letterman within 1 year. I was going to make someday happen. I started yelling my dream to anyone who would listen. Started calling in every favor I was owed. I found out everyone who worked on the show and begged them to help me get an audition. I even started asking people at comedy clubs after they'd seen me to email the show and beg Dave to book me. And guess what? I didn't make it. My ironically named deadline came and went. But I was so renewed about my dream and my newfound passion for it, I decided to give myself an extension. 1 more year to get on Letterman. Didn't happen. And then another. Nope. Sounds like bad news, right? Well, it was. I would have loved to get on the show in that first year, but something great happened over those years. Those 3 years weren't spent dying. They were spent living. Living a dream. And let me tell you, there is something, if you've ever chased a dream, you know that it lights a fire in your heart. That whether you reach it or not, it warms everyone around you and everything around you. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to keep going. Because that dream is so important. You can't wait for someday to happen. You need to make things go out. Wouldn't the world be a better place if we're all inspired? If the world wasn't full of uninspired people? I know I felt better when I was inspired.
Person's strengths are often their biggest weaknesses. And so that also means that their weaknesses can be their strengths. So, me, I am weak. In all those ways that I listed, I am weak. But I don't accept that. I don't accept that I am what I am and that is what I'm doomed to be. No, I don't accept that. I'm fighting. I'm always fighting. I'm struggling and I'm scrapping and I'm kicking and clawing at those weaknesses to change them, to stop them. Some days I win. Some days I don't. But each and every day, I get back up and I move forward with my fists clenched toward the battle, toward the struggle. And I fight with everything I've got to overcome those weaknesses and those shortfalls and those flaws, as I strive to be just a little bit better today than I was yesterday.
Why do people stop chasing their dreams? I don't think people choose to be uninspired. Jeannie, one of the people helping me with my TEDx experience, actually asked me that. She said, Steve, why do you think people stop chasing their dreams? Everyone wants to achieve them. Why do people leave them behind? That was a tough question to answer. I wanted to give her an honest answer, not some cliche response or a motivational line. So I thought about it for a long time. I knew that cancer had motivated me to pick my dream up again, but why did I stop chasing it in the first place? Why does anyone stop? Well, when the answer came to me, it was hard to swallow, let alone spit out and say aloud, but I told her. We're all taught that life is tough. Life's a bitch. Life is hard. But it's not. It's pretty easy, right? It's pretty easy to skate by and go through life, right? We wake up every day, most of us in the world, with a roof over our heads, a big comfy bed under our butts, fridge full of food. Most of us in the world, especially here in America, never have to worry about starvation or homelessness. We have friends and family that'll help us out when those things come. Those are the things that made life dangerous 100 years ago. Now we complain if life isn't convenient. This isn't a statement on modern society. This is a statement about motivation. Life is easy. It's pretty easy to grow up, put your dreams aside, leave your passions behind, take a job that you don't even really mind. Raise some kids who will most likely be inspired to do the exact same thing. Go from point A to point B to point C until you end up at point Z, where you pass away and there's a line of people waiting to get up and tell everyone else who knew you what a good life you had. Nothing bad about that, nothing wrong with that, but nothing great about it, nothing inspiring about that. The awful truth is that life is easy. Living, truly living, chasing a dream and truly living is hard. Living is a bitch. Living is tough, especially when you switch it and you ask yourself, what am I dying to do? What is it that puts that fire in my heart? Answering that question isn't the end, though. That's really just the spark. Because once you get that fire burning, you need to feed it. You need to keep reminding yourself of putting new coals in there and reminding yourself every day about that goal. Because we've all taken up a hobby or a goal or a workout that we stop for just a couple days and then we never pick it up again. You need to constantly remind yourself that you're dying and that you're dying to do something. Because the minute you forget, life creeps right back in. And life is easy.
Anything you try to do in America today, you got to be excited. People in America won't follow or believe in a negative, dull, disillusioned, frustrated, dadgum crybaby. People want people that are positive and excited and enthusiastic and tough. The greatest definition I ever heard, I thought about this 10 million times when I wanted to quit along the way of a winter. This guy said almost everybody in America can stay excited for 2 or 3 months. A few people can stay excited for 2 or 3 years, but a winner will stay excited for 30 years or ever how long it takes to win.
She told me a story about her dad talking to her about love when she was younger. And her dad told her, don't look at love as an object, not a thing. not something to obtain, not a noun. Look at it as a verb. It's something to do, something to act on, something to constantly give action to. I love that story. And I think a dream works exactly the same way. It's easy to look at a dream as something way off in the distance, something that might or might not be accomplished, a thing, an object, a goal, a thought that runs through our mind every now and then, a noun. But dream is also a verb. It has to be lived, it has to be done, it has to be furthered, it has to be acted upon, it needs to be chased. It's not just an idea or a result. To dream encompasses every step that it takes to get there. Now, I told you about my dream. I didn't reach my Letterman dream by my deadline or my extended deadline. Nope. It took me 5 years. 5 years of living. Five years of living for that dream. And I was very lucky. My tumors during that time, they didn't grow. I stayed healthy. But I had that wake-up call, and I'm giving you all the same wake-up call. We're all dying. But if you're not chasing your dream, you're already dead.
Everyone has a problem with time. But the day has 24 hours, and we sleep 6. Now, I know there's some out there that say, whoa, I need 8. Well, I say just sleep a little faster. Because the bottom line is we have 6 hours of sleep, 24 hours are available, so you have 18 hours now available to your work, your family, your hobbies, and also to learn something new or to do something new, which could easily be that you want to learn a new language, or that you want to read as a New Year's resolution, I have to read a book every week, or you say, I'm gonna go and reshape my body. So you're gonna go and take this hour out of your schedule and say, I'm gonna train an hour every day. So this is, for most people, a huge challenge, but it is totally doable, I can tell them, because the kind of things that I did when I came to this country, I mean, I went to school, I was working in construction, I was working out my 5 hours a day, I was taking acting classes from 8 o'clock at night to 12 midnight, I was doing all of those things. I wanted to make sure that out of the 24 hours of the day, that I don't waste one single hour. Those hours were too precious. And so there I just want to tell people, don't give me this thing, I have a difficult time with the time and I don't have time for this and I don't have that. You have time, you make the time.
If you want to win, folks, you gotta stand up and you gotta say, I'm so sick and tired of being average and ordinary. I'm so sick and tired of telling myself and telling my wife and telling my mama and telling everybody I'm gonna win. I found it this time. Watch my smoke. See, folks, if you gonna win, you gonna change.
But if you don't know the answer, don't go to sleep tonight without answering that question. Don't wait till someday to answer that question. There's nothing more important in your life than figuring that out. Because when you do figure it out, then when you go to sleep, you'll sleep like a kid again. Because then you'll be going to sleep not to dream, but with a dream. And waking up with one. Thank you, and sweet dreams.
The only way you can change your life, the only way the future can be better than the past is you got to change. Nobody can change for you, okay? Nobody's going to give you something for nothing. It's going to be up to you. You're controlling your future. And if you don't change, just look in the dadgum mirror. Look at the last 5 to 10 years of your life, and the next 5 or 10 years are going to be just like that. Now, ain't that depressing?
Experiencing pain in your muscles and aching, and just then go on and go on and then go on. And this last 2 or 3 or 4 repetitions, that's what makes actually the muscle then grow. And that divides then one from a champion and one from not being a champion. If you can go through this pain barrier, you make it to be a champion. If you can't go through, forget it. And that's where most people lack, is on this having the guts the guts to go in and just say, I go through and I don't care what happens. You know, it aches, and if I fall down, I have no fear of fainting in a gym, because I know it could happen. I threw up many times while I was working out, but it doesn't matter, because it's all worth it.
Another key to building this winning edge and this mental toughness is you got to become a dreamer again. You know, I'm a Methodist, and we just changed ministers a few weeks ago, and our new minister came in, and the church was just packed. And the first thing he said, well, it looks like everybody came out to see the monkey perform. And the second thing out of his mouth, he said, for a church to be a great church, you got to have a dream. If you don't have a dream, you're dead. And boy, I sat up and I said, man, me and this guy are going to get along good, because he knows what he's talking about. See, folks, I believe in order to win, you got to feel good about yourself. I was coaching football for 7 years back in Georgia, and I had a paddle in my coaching office, and it was about this thick and this long. And in the fat end, I had little holes bored in it so you could really get some speed and blister their little butt, you know, when they misbehaved. And I had a rule on my football team that if any kid said, I can't, if any football player heard one of my football players said, I can't, he got to bring him in the coach's office and give him 3 licks. And it took me about a month to get all that thinking out of my players every year, you know, and I'd have football players knock on my door at recess and at lunch and after school. And he said, Coach, he said it. Coach, he said it. And I'd make that kid bend over, and I'd give that other kid the board. He'd bust him 3 times. And folks, it didn't take long. You couldn't create a word game to get one of my kids to say I can't. Bring it home a little bit more personal. When April and little Art were just this little and could understand words, every time they said I can't, I made them do 3 push-ups. Folks, there ain't nothing you can't do in America if you want to bad enough.
Stop doing the things that you know are wrong that you could stop doing. Right? So it's a fairly limited attempt. First of all, we're not going to say that you know what the good is or what the truth is in any ultimate sense. But we will presume that there are things that you're doing that for one reason or another you know are not in your best interests. There's something about them that you just know you should stop. They're kind of self-evident to you. Other things you're going to be doubtful about. You're not going to know which way is up and which way is down. But there are things that you're doing that you know you shouldn't do. Now, some of those you won't stop doing for whatever reason. You don't have the discipline, or maybe there's a secondary payoff, or you don't believe it's necessary, or it's too much of a sacrifice, or you're angry or resentful or afraid. Who knows? So forget about those for now. But there's another subset that you could stop doing. It might be a little thing. Well, that's fine. Stop doing it and see what happens. And what'll happen is your vision will clear a little bit. And then something else will pop up in your field of apprehension that you will also know you should stop doing, and that you could stop doing, because you strengthened yourself a bit by stopping doing the particular stupid thing that you were doing before. That just puts you together a little bit more. And you could do that repeatedly for an indefinite period of time. And you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to ever be able to formulate a clear and final picture of what constitutes the truth and the good. But it does mean that you'll be able to continually move away from what's untruth and what's bad.
I believe desire and will to win is everything. I don't know why I'm like I am, but my butt's always burning. There's always something say, Art, dadgummit, you're supposed to go for it. Art, dadgummit, you're supposed to be somebody. You're supposed to make a difference with your life. What does the $500,000 a year person do? The $50,000 a year person doesn't do. You look at the outside and study those 2 individuals, everything seems to be the same. They both are the same sex, they both are the same age, they have the same training, the same positions, the same contract, the same fringe benefits. They both are successful, they work hard, they're good family people, make tough commitments. But what's the difference? What does the $500,000 a year person do? The $50,000 a year person doesn't do. He pays the price and a little bit more. He works hard and a little bit more. He's loyal to the company and a little bit more. He believes in a little bit more. He makes money and a little bit more. He saves money and a little bit more. If you want to win in these United States, you got to be tough and you can't quit. The last thing I'll talk to you about today in building this winning edge is, folks, if you want to win in business, you got to be a leader. Leadership is everything. You show me anything in these United States that win, I'll show you a leader at work. You show me a successful church, Boy Scout troop, club, football team, business, I'll show you something run by a leader. See, I thought at one time in my life you had to be smart to win. I used to have these smart people that dress so pretty and talk so pretty and use these big words. They just intimidated me. And I said, Art, you can't ever be that good. Why don't you just throw in the towel and go on back and coach football for a living? And I found two things out about smart people. I think it's almost impossible for a smart person to win in business in America today. Because I find smart people spend their whole lifetime figuring things out. They're always trying to figure out an easier way and a quicker way. And another thing I found out about smart people is they just don't get around to doing nothing. And see, somebody like Art Williams, everybody said, well, he can't do it. And somebody like that can't do it, but he does it. See, folks, I want you to know almost everybody in America almost does enough to win. They almost get there. They almost are over the hump. They almost have it going. They almost in everything they do, almost is a way of life to almost everybody in America. But the winners do it. What do? They do whatever it takes to get the job done. They do it and do it and do it and do it and do it until the job gets done. And then they talk about how great it is to be somebody they're proud of. We need leaders in America who can do it. If you want to become somebody, do it. If you want to go in business for yourself, do it. If you want to become financially independent, do it. I hear too much talk in these United States. Everybody can talk a good game. We need people in America who can do it. I go all over this country with A.L. Williams, and I have people say, Art, you can count on me. Wonderful. Just do it. Art, I guarantee you this is my last stop. I'm going to win now. Super duper. Just do it. Art, if I could just have one good month and get the ball going, I know I could make it big. Super. Just do it. Art, if I could just pay off this debt, I could really go. Great. Just do it. Art, if I could just sell my house. Do it. But houses ain't selling. Do it anyway. Art, I'm not making any money. What can I do? You just do it. Do what, Art? You do it and do it and do it. Art, I guarantee I'm going to win this contest. Super duper. Just do it. Art, I'm over the hump now. Watch my smoke. Great. Just do it. Art, I want to make it so bad I can taste it. What I do? You just do it. Art, I'm a vice president now. Can I quit doing it? No. Art, I don't know if I can keep on keeping on. I'm really hurting. What I do? You just do it. Do what, Art? You do it and do it and do it. Art, all my life I wanted to be somebody important. Well, what do it then? Art, I'm going to save money so I don't have to go through this again. Great. Just do it. Art, I don't feel like I've had enough training. What I do? You just do it. Art, my manager don't give me no help. What I do? You just do it. Art, you don't understand. I was Mr. Everything at my former company. You don't mean I have to start off down at the bottom and do it, do you? Yep, you really got to do it. Art, what's the primary difference between winners and losers? The winners do it. They do it and do it and do it and do it until the job gets done. And then they talk about how great it is to finally have achieved something unique, and how glad they are that they didn't quit like everybody else, and how wonderful it is to finally be somebody they're proud of and make a difference with their life.